what I was saying was that when we started off, right, we got into game development. Okay, I'm not the best person to answer that question. I'll tell you why. We're a small team. We're 20 people. We're not a huge team. I don't have 100 people working for me. We're 15 to 20 people that go in and out and so on and so forth. In product development, you don't need 100 people. So I haven't gone out and hired, give me the best, but it's important to hire the best people around you. The issue for us was when we started, we were saying कि हमने 3D PC game बना के globally बेचनी है. पाकिस्तान में तो सीन ही नहीं था. कोई सीन ही नहीं है. There's no person that I could go to say, hey man, where do I hire? There's no video game school, right? NCA may they teach you traditional communication design. All the art industry in Pakistan is media focused. Everybody loves Ali Zafar, and that's it. All right, that's the media industry in Pakistan, at least when we started. It's not really how it is now. And I think Ali Zafar wasn't that big back then. But the point being is that it's all advertisement and communication design. So the way we did it was we said, okay, in fact, knowing what I know now, if I were to do this, and this is an important point, okay, knowing what I know about the game industry now, I know how to make games. Okay, I can make a 3D game, I can make an Xbox game, I can make a PlayStation game now, I can make an iPhone game, blah, blah, blah. Alhamdulillah, 6 saal laga liye, काफी कुछ सीख लिया on the job, ठीक है? Knowing what I know now, had I started in 2006, now, rewind back to the future, future to the back, I would never have done it. Never. I say, यार, Babar, पागल हो गया है. Cricket game बनानी है पाकिस्तान में. कहाँ से बंदे आने वाले हैं? क्या करने वाले हो? This is the stupidest thing I possibly could do. This is an important point. I didn't know that. Okay? So I said in 2006, you know what? I'm going to make this game. I don't care what happens, I'm going to make this game. All right? I'll tell you what happened. We made the game, and alhamdulillah, it was only because I didn't know that we couldn't do it. Okay? An example is we had to take animations in the game. All right? Cricket की game में तकरीबन 600 animations जाती हैं उस game के अंदर. Physics programming वो तो आती थी, मतलब you know how to code, so like चलो यार coding तो मैं कर ही लूँगा. बाकी सारी चीज़ें कहाँ से आएंगी? Audio कहाँ से आएगा? Animation कहाँ से आएंगी? So we looked into it. So we said चलो यार मुझे वो short की animation निकालनी है. किस तरह निकालते हैं? नहीं पता था. Google पे गए, सीखा. अच्छा इस तरह निकालते हैं. चलो हम लोग निकालने की कोशिश करते हैं. 3D Max डाउनलोड किया, इंस्टॉल किया, लगाया. Animation के यार shit ये तो नहीं हो रहा. मसला हो गया है. अब क्या करें? Then we read up some more. It turned out that the way people do animation is through professional motion capture. What they do is that they have a huge studio, a huge room. They put in cameras in this room, and a person performs all these acts and blah 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 blah. And then you transpose that into like, yeah, wow, this is cool stuff. हम लोग भी करवाएंगे ये काम. So I called up all the animation companies. I said, यार हमें ये animation चाहिए. No. I called up a Pakistani studio that could do animations. You know what this Pakistani studio said to me? I won't take any names. Said, यार तू पागल हो गया. क्या कर रहा है यार? लम्ज़ पढ़ाते हो, जाओ पढ़ाओ. Why are you trying to make a game? Or this is the first response. He sent me back home. I was like, shit, yaar. Maybe the guy, Babar tha, by the way, animation industry ka. So some people, if they know the industry well, they might know what I'm talking about. But anyways, then 3 months later, that same person called me and said, ki, haan, if you give us 40% stake in your game, I will do your animations. I was like, yaar, dude, I'll do the animations myself, karwa lunga. So I called up the other companies outside of Pakistan. I'm going to tell you the story and kind of what we went through, right? Pakistan के बाहर फोन किया, पता चला जी $2 लाख लगते हैं एक इस किस्म की 500 एनिमेशन करवाने के लिए. $2 लाख मेरे पास है नहीं, right? We didn't have that money. Like, how do we do this? All right. So this is where most companies would have stumbled. In our case, alhamdulillah, we didn't. I created a motion capture studio of our own. This is in 2007. This was officially, I know this to be Pakistan's first motion capture studio. It wasn't an official studio. There was a room. What I did was, we had a house. I built a fiberglass construction all around that house. और उस पे I bought cameras and we put cameras. Cameras सस्ते मिल गए थे मुझे. I imported them from USA. Cameras मैंने 12 cameras लगा लिए थे सारे airgate, and then we got some software for it. We kind of calibrated that software. फिर 3 महीने जो मैं बता रहा था, मैं ऑफिस में सोया था, मैं इसके लिए सोया था. I built that motion capture studio. और फिर what I did was मैंने motion capture suit खुद पहना, सारी calibration करके. Cricket Revolution में every single animation is actually me. मैंने 3 महीने वहाँ फर्श पे डाइविंग लगा के ये कर. So it was a solution to that problem. All right. So if the bowling style is ugly, that's because I don't know how to bowl. All right. That's really what it is. Okay. But I didn't have a solution. So my solution was, you know what? Pressure है, family के पैसे वापस करने हैं. I don't have an option, यार. I've just got to do this. And so I did whatever I could think of, and that's what I thought of, and alhamdulillah, it came out, it worked out for us. So there are lots of challenges. There are lots of challenges like that, all right? I don't have the solutions to those. You don't have the solution to those, right? All you know is that when you're in that situation, can you push through? And in many cases, people don't have that capacity to really solve that problem. This is where your social skills come in. Please understand, this is where the team comes in. Can you reach out to people? There are people willing to help you if you reach out to them. Tell them, यार मेरा ये मसला, please help me, यार ये कर लेते हैं, वो कर लेते हैं, मैं कुछ ये पैसे दे दूंगा, कुछ यहाँ से कर लूंगा, favor कर दो, blah blah blah. An entrepreneur needs to be able to have those lifelines. You need to be able to pull a lifeline. So if you are a guy that can't talk to people or a girl that can't talk to people and are scared of asking for favors and stuff, entrepreneurship is a tough area. Not doable, but tough. आपके पॉइंट पे जो सॉरी बिफोर आई कम टू दिस, आपके पॉइंट पे जो आप कह रहे थे कि रिगार्डिंग द अपॉर्चुनिटी, आई डू वांट टू टेक दैट दिस a few minutes to tell you guys. Right now, the mobile gaming space or the mobile application space, generally, that's the space that we're in. We moved from PC games into mobile games. It's just crazy, man. It's like the most happening business sector I have seen in a long time. Okay, let me tell you how happening it is. How many of you guys have played Temple Run? Right? Quite a few. You know how many people made that game? 2. It was a husband and wife team that made that game, sitting in a room. Okay, you know how much money that game made per month, and is still making? $1 million+ every month. $1 million to $2 million. Temple Run makes that money every month. Okay? Currently, it's making about 3, roughly thereabouts. Okay, that's an example. Can you make that Temple Run game? Of course you can. Of course you can. It's not that hard. It's a simple Unity engine. Get down, put a few things together. चीजें बन जाती हैं. It's not that hard to do, all right? But there is all that other stuff that I said. In particular, in the mobile space, the luck factor is huge. It's a piece of art. I'll give you an example. I'm an awesome guitarist. Okay? I'm not, but let's say I was. I mean, I can play, but so just because I can play the guitar and be awesome and so on and so forth, do I get as famous as, let's say, Atif Aslam? Of course not. All right. So talent does not mean you become successful. There's a lot of stuff that goes from point A to getting to point B. Luck, things that you move around, opportunities that you get, who sees you perform. And in game development, because it's a piece of art, it's subjective. It's also art, it's not just science. So you don't know if it takes off or not. But there's a lot of money to be made in the game space. You don't have to make $1 million, all right? You can do something simple, and you can make easily $10,000 to $20,000 a month. Easy. It's not that hard, okay? Now that I've learned stuff about this space, okay? That's not bad money. $10,000 a month is like, 8 lakh rupees, 9 lakh rupees, right? We can make that with a 3-man team, all right? One way to start off in that area that people tend to do is services. If you want to do that, that's great. All right, you can start a mobile services company so you can put your team together. Okay, the reason why I'm anti-services is it, in my opinion, kills the entrepreneur. The guy that was creative, that could have changed the world, that could have done something super awesome, now is earning this incremental ticking money, tuck, 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 and he's happy. चूसनी दे दिया हमने उसको, अब वो बैठ के बस खुश हो गया. That same guy that could have changed the world. That's why I don't like services, all right? So if you're doing services, that's great. Use it to learn, but then be proactive to break that mold and move out. So that's my take on it. Shantha.
First of all, beautiful speech delivered, and it was very good. And after every question, it is more firm. But one question is that can you throw some light on the financials? You made the first video game. Did it make money? You lost it, or whatever? We probably know a little more detail about it. That what happened? You
sure.
Everything in, and then how much money did you get? Or it was a loss, and then you changed the line or whatever.
It's a good question. Obviously, I can't explain all the financials, but I can give you guys a मोटी story. हमने game बनाई. 2009 में हमने कहा इसको launch करते हैं. All right. Everything was lined up for success in our mind, but मैंने आपको उसमें presentation में आपको दिखाया था कि आपने टीम बना ली, आपने कहा कि मैं प्रोडक्ट बना लूंगा, प्रोडक्ट बन गया, प्रोडक्ट को लॉन्च करते हैं तो क्या होता है, ऑलराइट? हमें तो पता ही नहीं था, हमें तो पता ही नहीं था कि प्रोडक्ट को लॉन्च करने में होता क्या है, क्या वेरिएबल्स हैं मार्केट में जो, ऑफ कोर्स we did our research, we did our homework, but just because this is a dialogue from Goodwill Hunting that I love, you know, just because you read Oliver Twist doesn't mean you know what it's like being an orphan. It's a world apart, all right? It's just they're two separate things. So just because you've read what the market looks like does not mean you know what's going to happen once you launch a product. You have to really walk that walk. So what happened with us was we launched failure, all right? कुछ भी नहीं बना. It's like यार ये क्या हो गया? इतनी वो मेहनत और ये सारा कुछ और blah 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 कुछ भी नहीं बना. मतलब we made about $30,000 something like that in our first month. ठीक है? But
yeah. Why I ask this is that next question is that we need to have some ecosystem where, of course, we want lots of entrepreneurs, but all these entrepreneurs would require human resource. And above that, on top of that, in our case in Pakistan, we do not have so many examples like you, or maybe very few people come across people like you. So if we adopt a mentoring approach, and if there are few entrepreneurs and they are being mentored by somebody who have gone through all that process, and he handholds them and walks them through the process, and the probability of more entrepreneurs growing into an entrepreneur that is successful at a faster pace.
So you're right on the money, and I could give you a very long answer to that, but I do know for a fact that is what Umar and PITV and folk are actually successfully working on. So in a very short time frame, inshallah, you should see a lot of activity in this space where they're taking the challenge literally by the horns. So they're aware, the institutions that control these kind of systems are aware of exactly that point. They're also aware of the dearth of people that can actually disseminate that knowledge, right? So it's really a matter of putting it together. That is why we're sitting here. That is why we're in this auditorium today. These are efforts. Like we couldn't have had this talk, last year as an example. So this is all a starting point. Inshallah, over the coming years or so, this will get even better, and there are a lot of ideas that they're putting together for that. But to finish up that story, we launched the product failed. We're like, we're screwed. So, we didn't know what to do really. And at that stage, our company kind of, people started leaving. यार यहाँ तो कुछ भी नहीं बना. I always paid my salaries. एक बंदे की भी आज तक एक salary अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मिस नहीं हुई. लेकिन like यार इतनी मेहनत की, blah 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 blah. I was like यार, okay. How do we make this work? Okay. From that day in my life, till that day, I had been an engineer. I was nothing else. All right. I used to design cell phones and integrated circuits and wireless communications and signals and systems and blah blah blah. And I wrote the physics engine for the game. I was like, yaar, engineering is the way to go. Literally at the end of 2009 was the first time I actually became an entrepreneur. Okay, that was the first time that I became a businessman, if you will, because I had to go and sell something for the first time in my life. And I can bet you, not many of you have ever sold something. All right, it is hard. It is so hard going to someone and saying, "Yaar, ये चीज़ है, मुझे पैसे दो इसके." Oof, like I can't explain the feeling, right? So I started calling up people. So I didn't know I could be a businessman. I didn't know what to do. It's just like the motion capture situation. So what I did was I started calling up anybody and everybody I could think of. I said कि यार बाहर तो इसको बेचना ज़रा मुश्किल है. We actually got a publisher on board. In the games business, what happens is that the product company focuses on the game. And it's true of most of the creative industry. You make your music, you write a book, you make a game, and then a publisher that understands and controls the market purchases this from you, and then they go ahead and distribute it. The problem was that we were in a niche space. We were in the cricket space, all right? There are not many global publishers that would touch cricket. EA Sports wanted to buy our game, okay, at that stage. So EA was big. I was like, yeah, this is cool. But then a startup company came across us, this a company in UK called Mamba Games. There were people like ourselves saying, we are a startup publisher. We are British. We understand cricket. हमने cricket को हमको पूरी दुनिया में ये कर देंगे वो कर देंगे. They sold me their entrepreneurial story. I was like, हाँ यार बड़ा मजा आएगा. मैं EA के साथ काम नहीं करूँगा, मैं entrepreneur के साथ काम करूँगा. I worked with them. Stupid move, right? It all fell apart. We didn't make any money. So we were stuck. I had money to pay back. So then what I did was that I started trying to come up with ideas on how to make money from the game. And we had our first big sale. I was like, look, I can sell this game in Pakistan. I know you won't pay me a single rupee for it because software is free, but I know someone who will. And that someone was the institutions. I went to Mobilink. I went to Telenor.